Naran Tamavaranukup is now a name synonymous with luxury watches. He's the managing director of PMT The Hourglass, Thailand's leading retailer of specialist timepieces, including well-known brands like Patek Philippe and Chopard, and independent makes like MB&F and Urwerk. The Tamavaranukup family actually started out with a jewelry business several decades ago. The Blue River Corporation was established in 1975 and is still one of the country's leading jewelry retailers and exporters today. In 1995, the family branched out to yet another lucrative trade, watches, after recognizing a new trend in the luxury product industry.
"15 years ago, on a vision of my father, where he saw that, branded products were becoming very popular in Thailand, in Asia, and in many parts of the world. We saw that this was only going to get bigger. The rate was always going to grow as more people search for something different, something more exclusive. So they started off, retailing watches, a few brands.
What were some of the brands at that time?
Well, the first few brands that we started off includes Chopard, who until today we have a very strong partnership. Now we have a boutique with them. We started off with Patek Philippe and Audemars Piguet. These three brands are the brands that have been our partners for the past 15 years. Gradually we added more brands, and of course, as time goes by, we also, as brand changes, we also took less brands as well.
PMT The Hourglass sells more than 20 world-class brands. Its showroom at Siam Paragon is divided into 3 sections: one boutique for Chopard, one for Patek Philippe, and a multi-brand zone. And of course, it's also connected to the family's jewelry outlet. You might be surprised to know that Naran actually studied natural sciences and later went into investment banking before returning home to take over the watch business after his father, Narong, was diagnosed with cancer and later passed away in 2005.
But personally, do you have a lot of passion towards watches?
Yes, I think watches are very much, a very lively object. It's an object that combines not only a time-telling, scientific-wise instrument. It is an object that combines, the art of mathematics, engineering, design. Depends whichever way you look at it. Watches can tell your personality. What you're wearing can tell who you are, what you like. Watches that I wear, for example, I'm wearing a Hublot all-black watch today. It's a very simple understatement watch. Today, the watch that I'm wearing not only tells my personality, which is I'm a kind of guy who's a minimalist. I don't want to show off too much. But the watches that I collect also shows my the way I think. I have some watches that are made by some of the greatest independent watchmakers.
Such as?
For example, Max Buser, right? Max is a great conceptionist. Basically, his watches are somewhat very remarkable. They're like kinetic art. They're like art objects that are just sit there on your hand. It's not traditional round three-handed watch. It's an object where as a kid you dream of. You like something. You like aeroplanes. You like being able to fly.
Yes.
And then you design something which is three-dimensional and able to express it as such.
And could be on your wrist.
Exactly. So this is something that is not only fun, but it also shows a bit of yourself.
The young Naran now owns 15 watches, including classics like Patek Philippe Nautilus and an Audemars Piguet that is made of forged carbon, the new material lighter and stronger than steel.
So how do you choose? You look at the material or the brand or also maybe the style? What do you look at for yourself?
The way I look at watches is that, you know, this may sound funny, but if you look at the watch and it's smiling at you, that's really your watch.
Like you're choosing a pet.
Exactly. No, but it's a little bit more complicated than that. I study the technical details
You
behind the watch.
research.
The historical significance of the watch. You know, for example, you know, when you look at the Audemars Piguet forged carbon I was talking about, Audemars Piguet was the first brand to bring out forged carbon as the material, and it really
What's forged carbon? It's carbon?
It's carbon, basically carbon fiber, and you pressed it together, so it's become very, very solid, very hard, very light. It opens new ground in terms of material science, new materials being used in watch industry, and I think, you know, along with Richard Mille, Audemars Piguet has always Anne Hublot, Audemars Piguet has always been a leader in this field.
With the innovative
Materials. Exactly. So when I look at watches, I look at the significance behind the piece itself.
While most would think ₦1 million is an outrageous figure to pay for a watch, Naran believes it isn't really that expensive when you look at the watch's value. Now for a bit of a history lesson, Naran says there were about 90,000 watchmakers in Geneva in the 70s. When the Japanese introduced the quartz technology, the Swiss watch industry almost collapsed, leaving only 20,000 watchmakers. Today, looking at the rising demand for luxury watches worldwide and the fact that there are only 50,000 watchmakers in Geneva at present, Naran says half the price tag belongs to the craftsman and the other half to research and development. So why is Geneva the center of watchmaking?
It comes as a history. You know, there are many stories that people have made up, but the actual truth behind it is to do with religions. You know, at one time when people there's a lot of religions in Europe, like the Protestants from France and from different countries were basically told to either leave or die, basically at those historical times. So the only state they could move in which accept different religion was Geneva. So all the watchmakers has to migrate into Geneva. Before that, Geneva was not known for watchmaking at all. So, you know, if it wasn't for Jesus Christ, if it wasn't for religions, Geneva wouldn't be the center of watchmaking today.
So these are the jewelry watches, right?
Yes, these are some of the exquisite jewelry watches that we
Sparkling.
have. Exactly. These 4 watches are designed and made by another very famous brand, Harry Winston.
Oh, yes, I know this brand too.
Diamonds
Very
are
famous for diamonds, right?
Yes, diamonds are the girl's best friend,
Yes.
as we all know. These 4 watches have one similar characteristic, is that all the diamonds used by Harry Winston are D color,
Yes.
and of either flawless or internally flawless materials. So each one has been set in a very precise, very detailed way. As you can see, you can feel that all the settings are all in one layer.
Very fine.
Very fine, exactly. So you know how to tell best a good setting from a poor setting. You can easily just, you know, scroll it down your cloth or your suit, and if any part of your
Catches your
catches
clothes.
exactly, it's
Not
not such a great setting. So this one has a dual time function, so it tells time in 2 different countries, a home time and a local time. So the second piece we look at is this piece, the round piece, where it enables to tell time and also the face of the moon.
Wow.
So you can also, you know, there's also a poetical aspect about watchmaking as well.
Naran believes watches are objects of art and says the watchmaking industry today is in its renaissance period in terms of design and technology. This is also why PMT The Hourglass wants to promote independent brands which produce the most innovative timepieces.
This watch is made by Uwerk, a relatively new brand, but a brand where the owner Felix Baumgartner takes a lot of passion into his watchmaking. It has a different ways, different dimension of telling time. So again, very romantic. You look at the time right now; it's 5 o'clock. You see, it's 5:0. So as we move across the hour, you see from 5 and now it's 5:15.
Yes.
Right? All the way until 6 o'clock is now coming, you see?
Oh.
And now as you can see this one, they are preparing now for 7 o'clock.
Oh, and at 7 o'clock just
Exactly.
It flips.
Exactly.
Well, that's very
So-
new to me.
So each of the cubes here hides 4 numbers.
Wow.
So this is a different way of telling time. There are many new watchmakers that are coming out thinking of new innovative way of expressing time. Uwerk was one of the first.
These masterpieces might only be owned by the wealthy, but the industry also wants to give back to the community. Naran says his company is very honored to take part in organizing a charity event called Only Watch.
The Only Watch is a charity which was created under the patronage of Prince Albert of Monaco. Basically, every 2 years there is an auction event held by a leading auctioneer, which is Antiquorum, and each 2 years is held in Monaco. All the funds raised from the sales of exclusive unique piece watches donated by the brands are going towards a charity and a research institution which helps to develop a cure to this very sad disease of muscular dystrophy. The end of August, over 40 pieces of horological pieces, masterpieces, will be here at PMT The Hourglass.
To be displayed right here.
Exactly, at Siam Paragon. So, you know, Bangkok being the first place to have this exhibition, the collection would then move towards another 11 key cities in the world, ending up in Monaco, and then the auction will commence on the 23rd of September, where, you know, hopefully we'll raise quite a nice sum of money for the charity.